we at least have the Acolyte, and I guess we might as well talk about this. So I feel like I should just turn the bar loose on this one and see what you guys think. Episode 5. I described it as like the least terrible of the episodes so far because it was at least it gave you entertaining visuals to look at. The writing was still horrible, but
I think I'm willing to agree it's the best one. Sure. But
yeah, I mean, the best of like a load of steaming ass. It's the slightly less warm and stinky one. It's still terrible.
That's my favorite colored turd.
It is like instead of the usual 1,000 complaints, I've got 780. Like, oh, okay.
I mean, it's still a big steaming turd, but at least you can see bits of sweet corn in it. So there's
at least
there's
something to salvage.
I mean, yeah, like the impression I got is like, okay, the fight scenes are fairly visually impressive to look at. I could tell the choreographers did some good work on this one, which is nice. I would argue they probably go on a bit too long and it just becomes a little bit exhausting after a certain point. But that was at least engaging. And the fact that they're willing to actually kill off fairly important characters, and I say the word character quite loosely because they're just really like cardboard cutouts of people, but they still die. And so that's, again, something. So to show that, like, I guess it's proof that it's willing to do something to move the plot forward and have stakes. I just didn't care about any of the people involved. I guess that was the big problem there.
I would argue they did us a favor with Yord. I've been calling him Jedi Master Narc because he's probably the most annoying character I've seen in Star Wars in a minute.
His attitude towards Osha is weird. You know, like the previous episode where they arrive on that planet and she's got like a stun gun and he's like, I need you to give me that. Why? Like, I'm supposed to stay safe and this will help protect me. Well, you know, like you're a civilian and we want to keep you safe, so I'm going to take your protection away from you. And then the scene just shifts and like nothing actually gets resolved from that. And I just thought, why even have that conversation then if you're not going to do anything with it?
Because they had to show you that he's a pussy that's going to give in to her anyway.
He kind of does, yeah. Because he totally backs down later in the episode as well, where they're running away.
He follows her fucking orders eventually. It's cringe as hell. It's like you get these snippets of like, okay, because it was discussed when we were checking it out, but like the nature of your master / a master telling you, I'm going to face down this person who's been killing all of us. You get the innocent person to safety, and you have to make the choice of like, I'm going to abandon someone that I care about to save this person. I have to do this. It's my duty, and to an extent, it's his duty to inform the rest of the Jedi of what's happening here. Could have achieved both of those goals, but he just sort of waddles away pretty slowly until she convinces him to go back. And you might be like, how does she do it? How does she convince him? It's like, well, she tells him the bad guy might kill everyone. It's like, oh, yeah. He
That's
knows
generally what happens in lightsaber battles. Like, someone's going to kill someone.
Like, Master Soul's fucking point was, he might very well kill everyone. You're supposed to get out of here. So, it's really lame to watch Yord, who already had, like, I didn't care about him at all. But the one decision he makes in the whole thing gets undermined by his passenger that previously he threatened to knock out, by the way. I was like, hey, there you go, bit of spine. And then he just doesn't. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Carrying her through that jungle would have been interesting if he did knock her out. I thought it was a weird threat.
Yeah. I still don't understand how they're in this like steaming hot jungle, right? And everyone's wearing like 5 layers of like heavy cloaks and like armor and like all this stupid shit. But it's like environments don't mean anything. Like when they're on the snow planet, like Osha is wearing just the same normal clothes that she wears, no problem. Like there's no sign that she's starting to freeze or anything. She's in a jungle planet. She's wearing like the kind of gear that she should be wearing on a snow planet, really. Like she's like more wrapped up than ever. And again, it's totally fine. What are you trying to show us with this? There's no.
And that's one of those. That's one of those things. That's one of those things that's like makes the show fun and interesting. That's really easy to do. Like when Han Solo turns up in his blue coat in Empire Strikes Back, everyone was excited. We're seeing Han Solo in a different outfit. Very easy thing to do to set a scene and make it fun. And they don't even bother with that. It's just
that implies that they would put a little bit of effort into it, which is obviously not the name of the game anymore.
No, we can't have that.
Well, it's just they do put her in different outfits, but the outfits just don't have any connection to the environment she's going into. It's like she wears more clothes in the hotter environment that she goes into. It's just nonsensical. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, they went full potato sack for the jungle, which made sense. They love that potato sack look.
Stuff they were making in the 80s, like The Empire Strikes Back, feels far more realistic and lived in compared to the sets they're doing today, which just feel like movie sets. Because when Luke collapses on Hoth, you really feel the cold of that scene. It's so real. And when he's on Dagobah training with Yoda and he's wearing his tank top, basically, again, he looks like he's boiling hot in this kind of Florida swamp type place. Whereas, and those were like the Yoda set was a soundstage, and you compare that to the Acolyte, and it just feels like the jungle. It feels fake, and one of the reasons is the costumes, and there's other little details with regard to costume because the Acolyte does even the little details. It does everything wrong. There are scenes where you look at the Jedi in Coruscant, and their clothes are absolutely pristine, like they've just been taken out of the plastic wrappers.
Yeah.
Well, we even got a scene of him doing his laundry, didn't we?
Is that just like we had to show him shirtless because he
that was the most important thing we could do.
Yeah, what was that even about? I mean, he's not that impressive. Put your clothes back on.
I think it was literally just to humiliate the character a little bit because didn't the Padawan say to him like, "Ugh, put your clothes on"?
Man, that Padawan, she got to have the most impressive sword skills out of all the knights and the master. That's pretty interesting.
She's dual wielding lightsabers like she's an absolute pro.
It's so lame. She should be the one that the master's constantly trying to protect and keep out of the fight. And I think it would be way more interesting for them to have a couple of maybe team up moments based on the training they've had, but ultimately the master wants her out. He doesn't want her anywhere near this. Instead, she's going full throttle, having the longest solo battle with the Sith who can take on, 4 people at once. I was like, oh, let's just yanks anybody out of this. She shouldn't be lasting this long.
Well, you know exactly why she's the one who lasts the longest and does the best.
Before that started, Yord said, she'll be fine, she's a Jedi. And I thought, that's a strange line. Isn't she a Padawan? Like, she should be in a bit of trouble back there. And then they go to her. She's like flying through the air, spinning around, 2 lightsabers, just going nuts.
Plus, he's watched like multiple Jedi get hacked to the ground by this Sith Lord.
Know.
Like, she'll be fine, she's a Jedi. What, like the other cannon fodder that have gone up against this dude?
10 on 1 didn't have a chance, but the Padawan, she'll be fine.
She's a Jedi with training wheels, and they just decided abandoning her was a good idea. Like,
maybe they were secretly trying to get her killed because she's annoying as fuck.
Wouldn't be
like,
surprised.
oh yeah, you go in there, you're fine. I love how she tries to arrest May multiple times, and like instead of restraining her,
she's like Mirandizing her.
Yeah, she's like reading her rights and the list of charges against her. It's like, how about you get those cuffs on her, restrain her, and then just gloat a little bit. Like
she went all Starsky and Hutch, like trying to get the lines in as quickly as possible to look cool.
Yeah.
And Snarky J, Starsky and Hutch was a show way, way, way before you were born.
I feel like I've heard it referenced.
You're the new generation. We're the last Jedi generation. You've got the Acolyte generation.
Veterans of this fucking bullshit. It's so funny because all the compliments the choreography is getting, I'm already seeing people rev it up the whole like, right, let's start going through it slowly. And it's like,
that's true. If you go through the actual lightsaber, I still think it's good. I would say this is the first time we've had good lightsaber choreography from Disney. It still has problems. It's not great, and there are definitely moments if you go through it where you sort of think, okay, well, why did he hit him instead of stabbing him? Or okay, that move doesn't make sense there. Or if you look at these two, why did the guy pull his lightsaber back instead of just thrusting it up into Kylo Ren boy? Like these kind of weird little things. But I still think overall it's good lightsaber choreography, especially compared with Ahsoka, which was dreadful. That was the worst lightsaber choreography.
Something that
you
I was thinking
they were
about,
working with actual fairly talented fighters.
They tried with this, yeah. The thing about it is I saw someone tweet saying this is the best choreography since the prequels, and a lot of people were like, that's crazy, no way, blah, blah. And then I was
That's
like,
actually true.
Well,
That's
wait
true.
a minute. Yeah, I was like, there's nothing impressive since the prequels. So
because I was thinking about this, and if you look at it, Kylo Ren had a really lazy brute force, ugly to look at,
he just
slow
hacked and
lightsaber
slashed at everything.
yeah, despite the
very
fact that he
dull
was
to look
trained
at.
by two of the greatest like powerful members of both sides. He
This
ended
is
up like a
this is a tricky
caveman
one.
with his fucking sword.
This is a tricky one to assess, right? Because, like, I don't know about you guys. When I look at a lightsaber fight in a Star Wars movie, there's two sides to it. One is the choreography and just the technical skill on display. Two is the emotional investment. And, like, what does this fight mean in terms of your investment in the characters? This is why
I don't think they worry about that second one too much.
No, they don't. They don't clearly. But like, this is why, for example, like I liked the fight between Kylo Ren and Finn. It wasn't very technically skilled, but you really felt the emotion of Finn like fighting with everything he had against a far
The
superior
Finn one's better than the
opponent.
Rey one. I'll give you that.
Yeah, which and this is why I think like certain fights are not terribly technically impressive, but they've got a lot of resonance to them. Kind of like when Luke fights Vader for the last time. He's just wailing on him. It's just pure rage. So there's not a lot of technical skill there, but man, it's an incredible fight to watch because it means so much.
I think you're on point with the character aspect, the choreography aspect, but I would add like a third layer of the use of their abilities / environment. And that's why the Bespin battle between Luke and Vader to me is just like, I could talk about it all day, how many different decisions they made to make that one so fucking detailed, layered, impressive, and how, most you could I think at a first glance be like, this doesn't make any sense. Vader's like struggling, and you're like, nah, he's playing with him. It's great. Like he's enjoying fighting Luke because he's not good enough, and he keeps like making reference to how he's actually a little more impressive than he would have expected. But then the second Luke actually tags him, Vader's like, motherfucker, okay, your arm's coming off. It's like, you just, how fucking dare you?
It's amazing how many people miss all those cues. The Disney fans to this day still don't understand those fights, still think that Vader was trying to kill Luke, which just blows my mind that they can watch those movies and miss it's the whole arc of the film.
But it's the same as the fight in Return of the Jedi. Like they're essentially two people that are trying to win the other person over to their point of view. Luke's trying to redeem Vader. Vader's trying to turn Luke to the dark side by provoking him. There's a lot more going on there beyond like two guys swinging laser swords at each other because they want to kill each other. Like that's just a medium for like the conflict between the two characters. That's interesting. Here, like it's just a straight up brawl, and so it relies entirely on your technical skill, like just showing people really visually impressive stuff. Because we don't care really about any of these characters.
That's
if
what
it
was annoying.
May versus Osha, maybe like because theoretically they're the core of this story. Again, they're pretty like uninteresting characters, but that
if only they felt like two different people, then maybe it would be interesting.
That would help. That's what was annoying about May saying, a Jedi only pulls their lightsaber when they're about to kill, and it's like that's not how we've seen lightsabers used the whole time. The most interesting parts are when they're fighting; they're not trying to kill each other, like Vader and Luke. So it was just a weird foreshadowing of that how Disney see the lightsaber as just this sort of weapon of death.
Well, at least now we know there was just one missing line that Chimere, or whatever his name, didn't mention. Smilo Ren. He said you can't kill Jedi with a blade, laser. But see, what he was getting at was you can do it with a laser blade. Like, that's the key. Put them together. Obviously. That's the trick.
That was the loophole.
The thing I talked about in my review, and I guess I didn't have the full context at the time, right? Like, when Smilo Ren headbutts a lightsaber and it just shorts out the blade. And so apparently people have made me very aware.
Yeah.
I read the comments.
There's a mystical bullshit material that will somehow short out a lightsaber blade if it hits it, right? I don't know if it's like really rare and hard to come by, and so that's why it doesn't get used more. But man, it feels like that would be a super useful thing to.
Yeah, why isn't everybody covered in it?
Dude,
I was curious. So I went on to Wikipedia, and apparently it's a very rare metal called cortosis, which is, for some reason, it's extremely hard to refine into sheets. It's very rare. It's very expensive. It's difficult to work, and it's vulnerable to laser fire or something. It overheats, and something like it's very unstable until it's refined, so it can't be refined in large quantities, something like that. There is a fairly solid explanation in terms of the EU canon about cortosis, which is why it's not more widespread. And I
tell you the people that know about those facts think the people that don't are fucking idiots because the people telling me what a retard I was for not knowing anything about that was amazing.
Dude, it feels to me like a normie trap. It's so funny because in our episodes we've had Ryan Kindle along, who's the biggest Star Wars nerd I know, and so when it happened, all of us were like, "What the fuck was that?" We've never. He was like, I can explain this. And we were like, okay.
He probably
Well,
reaches
just-
back to
just-
the 1,000 books behind him and pulls the exact book out where it was first mentioned and starts reading from it.
I mean, I'm just thinking about the utility of this stuff, right? Because Smilo Ren's got like the helmet that's made of this stuff, and I think he's got 2 bangles around his wrists. And so,
Yeah.
like, if someone's swiping a lightsaber at him, he can just go like that and deflect it or short it out. But I
It's
thought
very Wonder
that-
Woman of him.
I was about to say, so he's Wonder Woman.
this is on your wrist, right? Imagine if you got it just like an inch wrong to either side, right? That's it. Your arm's gone. It's like that. That feels like a really, that's a desperation move right there. Like that could go horribly wrong very easily, but it always works out for him just
You know
fine.
what really bothers me too is like those dumbass Jedi who, when they hit their lightsaber and it starts to short out, they just become like paused in time. They're like, nothing else I can do now. You're like,
And
bro, you can. There's so many things you can do. You are a
the scene-
Jedi.
The scene of them both looking down like it's a torch that's not coming on, like hitting the button. And it's
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
God.
you've got the Force. Just keep going. Like,
there's so this is the problem, right? When you establish a world where people can force push people with ease, right, and you've got all those kind of abilities, you don't ever need to punch them or do anything like that. You can just force push them into a fucking tree or off a cliff or something. It's like, that's it, you've won the fight. And so, but nobody ever thinks to do that. They'll do it once when they want a visually impressive scene of someone getting thrown through a door or something like that, which explodes like it's made of paper. And then they never use it again. And then they end up like fist fighting each other or wrestling with them or something. Like, why? Why are you doing that?
This is the problem with the helmet. Like, you've already got problems with the Force, when to use it, when to not, so it looks realistic when you're making these shows. Why introduce a helmet that the lightsabers can't hit through? Like, then you're just introducing more problems. Like, the more they add to this, the harder it is to bloody show Jedi without it looking ridiculous.
It's the
Also,
TLJ.
why did the helmet just break off? Like,
Someone punched it.
am
really
I
hard.
the only one that didn't get that? Like, it's taken
Yeah.
17 lightsaber hits because he keeps fucking headbutting it like an animal, and then it just like falls apart because
had a
Jackie or
health
whatever
bar.
her name is hits it once.
Because
It ran out.
Jackie punches it because she, clearly she's a real brawler, and you can just tell by looking
yeah.
at her.
She
and
looks
she's
really
able-
buff.
Yeah, she's able to punch this helmet clean off his fucking head. yeah, sure.
Why
Okay.
not? Why not? Yeah.
It withstands lightsabers, but not delicate 19-year-old girls, apparently.
I want a villain who's clad entirely in like Beskar and this bullshit material as well. Like, so it just deflects everything and like nothing can touch him.
Yeah, full Beskar and then a full layer of this on top and then a full layer of
Yeah, sure.
fucking adamantium on top of that.